Hey Rob. Testing the camera here. I don't know if it's working. Yeah, I think it is. So here we are at Trinity College. What year was the school founded here?
1592.
Yeah. And you're thinking of finishing up your college career here?
Yeah.
It's a nice campus. We're on our way in to see
Book of Kells.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a line, but it is moving. We're hoping we'll be in another 10 minutes. Here's the part of the campus. That's the rest of the line. We've moved quite a bit. Here we are at the Moloney gravesite, and we are standing at the headstone for
Thomas
a
Moloney.
whole series of Moloneys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, and John Moloney here has been kind enough to give us a little bit of a tour and explain. John, can you tell us who was buried in here again,
Yeah.
in addition to the names that are already on here?
The first name here is Thomas Moloney, and that was my great-grandfather, and he would have been your great-grandfather, Jim. And his wife then was Johanna Tierney, and that would be your great-grandmother and my great-grandmother as well. And then underneath that you have a Margaret Moloney as well as a Patrick Moloney, and those would have been two children that died roughly around the ages of 13 and 16 years of age, and they were a brother and a sister to your grandmother and to my grandfather. And next then you have Kathleen
And they died of typhoid. Right?
Typhoid,
Yeah.
or maybe like influenza, or one of those types of illnesses, because back in the early 1900s, 1920s, many parts of Ireland were rampant with sickness and illnesses like that, and you know, illnesses like typhoid or whooping cough or any of those types of problems. In today's medical science, there are obviously lots and lots of treatments and cures for them, but going back then, you know, it was very easy to pick up infections and then actually die. And then underneath that you have Kathleen Moloney, who was my grandmother. Her name was Kathleen Collins, from Kinsale in County Cork. And then you have Tom Moloney, who was my uncle, and that was a son of Kathleen Moloney's and of John Moloney's as well. And John Moloney then was my grandfather. But there was a lady then by the name of Mary Moloney, who was a sister to your grandmother, who was Ellen Moloney, and she's also buried here in this family plot, but her name isn't inscribed on the headstone. And we also know as well that Thomas Moloney's mother and father, that was John Moloney as well as Mary Horrigan, are also buried here in this family plot as well. So there are lots of the Moloney clan buried here.
Yeah. And the name of this church that we're at is...
it's the Church of Ireland, St. Patrick's Church of Ireland Church here in Castleconnell.
Okay.
And the church that we actually visited there earlier on was St. Joseph's Roman Catholic Church.
Right, and that's where they were all baptized and married.
That's where all the Moloneys were baptized and married.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great. And you had said that the Thomas Moloney was from Lower Garden Hill, which is a part of Castleconnell.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's actually the family home of where the Moloneys, where I'm actually living with my parents today.
Oh wow.
You know,
okay.
So the Moloneys would have definitely been there and would have definitely lived in Lower Garden Hill since roughly about the 1840s.
1840s, yeah.
1840s.
Yeah. Wow.
And we are actually still living in the original family homestead to this very day, when Thomas Moloney and Johanna Tierney, as well as John Moloney and Mary Horrigan, were living there. So
yeah. Wow, it's an old house.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's an old plot of ground, and hopefully it'll be in my family for many, many years to come as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for the explanations.
Great.
This just show the rest of the
Yeah.
cemetery here.
And while you're actually carrying out the recording in the extension graveyard there, that's appearing on your camera, there's actually a niece of your grandmother's, that's buried there. Her name was Bridget Moloney as well, and she would have been a niece of my grandfather. And in a short while, we can go down and visit that particular
Yeah,
headstone.
yeah, that would be interesting too. This is the old section, the old cemetery.
Exactly, yeah.
Of the Church of Ireland is the building,
And
and
in this particular graveyard, there are a mixture of both Protestants buried here as well as Roman Catholics. The Protestants, the majority of all the Protestant people or people of Protestant religion are actually buried in the lower part of the cemetery, which I can take you down in a couple of minutes. And then in the upper part here is actually where the Roman Catholics are buried. And obviously all our family were all of Roman Catholic denomination.
Right. You can see there are a lot of old headstones here.
Yeah, and tombs as well.
Yeah. There's
In Castleconnell, you have there was a family by the name of the Burgos, which translates into the Burke family, and they're actually buried here in this particular graveyard. They were of Protestant religion. And it just goes to show, like, you know, some of the headstones around just this section here are Roman Catholic.
Yeah. Okay, this is very interesting history.